Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Minecraft Spectrobes mod, whatever thing. I'm on summer break right now, so I have time to work on it. I have indeed added quite a few new entities to the mod. However, there are very few mechanical changes so far. Let's start with the crawl. For crawl, we've added a few. These are all the forms we have now, including like the forms of Zeppy, which I don't know where those went. We got Ela, Grilla, Subar, Vibar, Swar, Bagarax, and then Zeppy and Vizeppy. There's no current way for them to get from this form to this form. However, the one little like mechanical change that I added does have to do with that. If I put a Zeppy here, he can now break blocks and eat their drops. Just specific blocks and just specific drops, honestly. Break. The firework effect tells you that he has eaten. Eating heals crawl for like 4, I forget if it's like 4 hearts or 4 half hearts or whatever. But yeah, that's the thing. And each form of crawl, especially the base forms, have specific blocks that they like to destroy and consume the drops of. In the process of eating blocks, it will advance them into their other forms. The green ones are essentially just powered up versions of the normal ones. I don't know what I'm gonna do with that. They're also different typings, like this one's Corona, that one's Aurora, and the same goes for pretty much all of these, including Zeppy and Vizeppy. So I don't know, we'll see what happens with that. A lot of these will eat leaves and grass. I thought just like consuming any living matter would be a pretty good base starting point, I guess, but that's not really what they do necessarily in game. Swar has a bunch of like plant forms, so obviously Swar has to consume a bunch of this. But then there are also like ice forms for Ela, Zeppy, and Subar, etc. So each one needs to consume different things, obviously, and so that's kind of it for the enemy portion of the update. The rest is like I just been adding some Spectrobes, mostly just child forms. I don't think I've added any adult forms since posting last on YouTube here. But let's go to the lab and see all the little dudes we've added. As you can see here, we have all the weapons. Some of their textures have changed. I'm not too sure about the this texture. It's kind of muddied and stuff, but I don't know what every single weapon looks like because the wiki doesn't have pictures of all of them, and I can't find the ones that are incorrect here in game. So yeah, it'd be really cool if someone could put pictures of every single weapon on the wiki. That's the voltage glove and the omega glove that I still need there, and then like pretty much all the guns, a lot of the swords still. I know what the Nene arrow and barrier sword look like. Yeah, that's something that needs to be worked out. I'm not really satisfied with this texture either. It's kind of hard to see the silhouette of the base weapon because of the halo. I might have to shrink the halo or change the perspective on it or something. I don't know. I'll think of something there. And then of course we have the Origins weapons. These will all be Origins weapons pretty much. Well, not this whole thing, I don't think, but plenty of it. We do have a couple axes in here that I have not shown off yet, but we'll save those for a future video. This is my setup for like showing off new Spectrobes and whatnot. We have all the Spectrobes that are in game up here, minus a couple that are in the box that I just haven't shown off yet. So let's see who. Yeah, so we just grab them from the wall, throw it in the thing. It's like an automatic awakening setup. Awakens it into the card, puts it in here, and then we got Tamazoa, who screams because of course they do. All the Spectrobes have added. Tama is here. And will not shut up unless I put him in a pros mod. So we're gonna just keep him in the Prisma. Don't mind the fire. Don't mind the fire. We've also recently added Danawa and Bama. He like transforms into a dinosaur skull when he's found something to excavate. I have made the animations and whatnot to do so. It's just that they're not in game because I need to go and revisit the Spectrobe code in order to put them in, and that might take a while. And then we also have Meyer. I think it looks pretty good for what you can do in here. Have two of them, I guess. I don't know. A little 4. I fed that guy more apparently. Samu Kabu was one of the first guys I added once I had time during the semester. None of the newer guys have alternate colors yet, unfortunately. We got Pepe, or Pepe, or however you pronounce it. Zua. I'm not sure if I showed Anubi either, but Anubi's here. Sabo. I think I had a Sabo video. I'm not sure. There's also Tin Crow. Excuse me, Anubi. Ever the center of attention. There's also Tin Crow. There should also be... Oh yeah, Shimainu is over here. I think that's everyone I've added, actually. There's obviously a couple more that I haven't shown that are in the box that we will get to eventually. But yeah, so that's kind of where we're at currently. Obviously, I also have the armors, which I have not shown off here on YouTube yet. Everything from basic to plate gear. There's armored gear and plate gear. I don't know what the difference is. One of the challenges of this mod, like from a development standpoint, is going to be determining how these things are different. I mean, that's a lot of crafting recipes, right? And so that's going to require a lot of different materials and whatnot. And Spectrobes just provides 3 different materials, which are marble, titanium, and metallium, all of which are used just for shipbuilding. They don't tell you what any of this is made of, right? So I don't know. It's gonna be an interesting time. These ones should be textured more like these, just with like all the white parts on here should be these colors, essentially. That shouldn't be hard. I just haven't gotten to it yet, so I'll get to that soon. Don't worry about the work in progress. That's gonna look the same as most other things here. You good, bud? All right, but yeah, that's kind of all I have to show you guys in terms of like updates. And so, let me show you my my new lab room. Excuse me, guys. Excuse me. This is the new lab. I wanted to do it outside of the more clinical ship looking environment because it's just more interesting to have it in a ruins like they did in Origins with the Spectrum Master's cave. So any new lab equipment will be here. I don't believe any of this has any added functionality from when last I showed stuff. This is the awakening machine, which just awakens fossils. The UI is not pretty yet. I need to work on that still. Everything else, well, that one works, but I don't know. I don't want to tell you about too many things because I don't know. The stuff just doesn't function correctly yet. I need to figure stuff out. But then this is one of the more advanced things I've done. It's a 3-block structure, actually. You can like break it from the top or bottom block depending on if you are breaking the hitbox of it. But if you are injured and you stand within here, it starts healing you, and there are particle effects for being healed. And I think it can heal any mob if I'm not mistaken. You know, that's neat. There's that. And oh yeah. I also added a few plants. I don't know if I've shown this off either. All the plants I've added were from Origins because that's the only one with unique looking plants. Aside from there's a couple planets in Beyond the Portals, and I think the first game, that have some unique looking trees and some mushrooms, but like for the most part, Origins is the only one to have like unique flora, and so that's all I've got in here so far. Plus, I don't have pictures of the stuff from the first couple games, which would be nice to have. But the wiki just has a picture of the planet, so yeah. I'm working with what I got. I just like got in game and looked at these. I'm not at the far enough points to look at the more unique plants and stuff in the other games. So these are kind of all I have. I call this one the barrel flower. I don't think it has a name. If any of this has a name, please let me know. I would love to know. I call this one the Kayo flower. Same situation. This one is the Daldago fern, which is not properly named for some reason. I thought I named it properly, but... And then we have this other Daldago flower here. And that's kind of all the plants that we have, and they can be potted. The fern is a bit special because it can change color. Not in the pot, though. In the pot, it's just a static texture. The normal Minecraft fern uses a block entity to change the normal Minecraft fern's color when it's in the pot based on the biome. But outside of the pot, it has the average color of the biome plants and whatnot looks like that. If I go here, let me just... I don't know if you're... they're a lot greener here, if you'll notice. And then if we go over here, I believe I've planted some. See, it's like really green, and then it goes to brownish. Yeah. But yeah, that's its whole unique thing. Otherwise, the other plants don't really do much. They just exist. They have an effect for when you put them in suspicious stew, which is just luck, because that's what the tutorial put on there, and I don't really know what else can be done with that. So I might add other stuff to that later, maybe, but I don't see that as too important in the grand scheme of like what makes Spectrobes. So I might not touch that. I will add more plants though. I do like these things. They go a long ways to differentiate environments. There will be more of those. But yeah, guys, I think that's kind of it as far as like new stuff goes. All that there's left to talk about really is what comes next. I mean, obviously, I'm still going to be adding Spectrobes and whatnot. Spectrobes are like the most important part of Spectrobes. You know, if you don't have Spectrobes, it's not Spectrobes. The other major thing is... I would like to get the crawl evolution system going so they can like eat blocks and change into their more advanced forms. I already do have a couple of their advanced forms in game. I don't want to show those off until the system's ready. I have to remind myself how to do that, because being away from your code for like a whole semester, you forget things and then you gotta remember them again. And I have no clue how I did the the Spectrobes evolution code, so I'm gonna have to relearn that kind of. But it should be simpler from the crawl, because the crawl don't have so many variables I need to preserve. They kind of have more set stats, if that makes any sense. So I think it'll be much easier to do it for crawl. But then there is I have to allow them to have like branching evolution paths. Like base Ela can evolve into 6 different forms, I think. I think it's Rockela, Icela, Gorilla, Mutila, and Moldova. I don't know how many that was. I didn't count them. I mean, that's a lot of forms, right? And so figuring out how to manage that based on what they eat is going to be interesting. And so that's gonna be my next like larger project. That's a big part of the functionality that I think needs to be in here for this to be Spectroby. And in you go. Oh, sorry. Actually, not really. I'm not too sorry. You're a crawl, but you know, it's impolite. Let's see if we can. hi. But so that should be interesting to see unfold, at least. The other thing I kind of need to make people aware of, or at least, like, in my opinion, this is kind of important for downloading and updating mods and whatnot. One big thing I've run into, and why, like, this is a completely different world than I've been on in the past videos, is because if you change world gen, your past world's no longer like you anymore. So that presents an issue in the fact that there are how many planets in Spectrobes? Like, I would imagine it's a little above 20. And each of those has one, if not two or three biomes. And so, like, that's a lot of trial and error for world gen, which I don't want to, like, if I release this at some point and the world gen's not done and then I update it, people's worlds will be, like, invalidated. I don't know exactly how that works. Maybe there's something I can do to prevent that. I'll look into it. I don't know. But the dev quandary of do I release this when it's functional or do I release this when it's stable comes into play there. Because, like, I could totally release this once I get, like, some more forms in and some more, like, adult forms and some more forms of crawl and finish the evolution system, right? But then if I, like, update the world gen after someone starts playing, they're going to be frustrated that, I can't access my world anymore because you updated the mod, or just they'll have to play on an older version of the mod. Frankly, that kind of sucks to me. I don't really like the idea of that. I would much prefer just, like, people's experiences to carry over and be uninterrupted. But I don't know. Maybe it's something I ask you guys about. You guys give me your opinion in the comments whether you would want this once it's functional or once world gen is complete. If you have any ideas for how I should think about that, you know, I just leave a comment and let me know. Because as it is, I have no clue what's that's unfortunate. As things are, I just have no clue of what I should really be doing in that sense, as this is my first mod. But that's pretty much it, I think, in totality for what I have to share with you today. If you got thoughts or opinions on any of this, please do leave a comment. And yeah, have a fantastic day-night cycle, and sayonara.